Hi, Eric Gibaud, ericgibaud.com, and today walking around in the forest of Manfrotto, close to the city where I was born, Fontenay-le-Comte in Vendée, in west of France. And I'm going to tell you my 5 tips, photography tips for the month of October 2020. Let's start. Probably these are new generation who didn't know, who have not known any other kind of cameras. But I see that many people, they use only the LCD screen, although they have a viewfinder. Obviously, if your camera doesn't have any viewfinder, if you use a smartphone, well, there's no question about that. But when they are in a critical situation with low light, or they have to really drop speed quite a bit, they still use the LCD screen, so they handhold the camera, and this is not stable. You should, in this situation, always use the viewfinder, so you actually can get your camera close to you, a lot more steady, and you'll get sharper pictures and less blur because you will be a lot more stable. Tip number 2. Well, in the case you're already steady because you are using a tripod. By the way, I'm going to show you a bit around so you can have a look at the area. Hope you like it. This Rio, small river is called Mer, la Mer. And there's another one called Le Vent, so it gives the name to the area, Mer Vent, getting together both name of the river. Okay, so back to my tip. So let's say you have your camera on a tripod and you're doing like a landscape picture, and you make the exposure as you think it's alright, but maybe there's an area that is too light, or an area that is far too dark. But as your camera is on a tripod, the framing is not going to change, nothing is going to change. So you could actually make several pictures with different exposure. So this way you should get your picture the one you think is right, and then one that is overexposed one stop, and another one that is underexposed one stop. So one overexposed, one underexposed, if you make 3 pictures. But I would even advise to make 5 pictures, 2 stop over and 2 stop under. So this way you have all the possible, or most of the possible exposures. And when you get your camera in your favorite editing software, you can, if you feel there's a problem in some areas, obviously if there's no problem, nothing to do, you keep the best picture and that's it. But if you feel there is some kind of under or overexposed in some areas, then you can actually stack the pictures in your editing software and keep the area that gives you the best exposure. So this is actually called HDR. Many people call HDR pictures that have the funny colors, or horrible, more than funny colors. But this is tone mapping. People are making the confusion because the same software there are some software for HDR, and they also make tone mapping. So people call tone mapping, they call HDR things that actually tone mapping. The picture, as I say, normally if you're not a photographer, you don't realize there is several pictures stacked together, and it makes the right exposure. One important thing, really important, when you're going to make several pictures like this, don't change exposure touching the aperture or changing the ISO, because if you change the ISO, the noise may be different from one picture to the other one, and if you change the aperture, the depth of field will be different. So you must actually change exposure just touching or changing the speed. Okay, this is really important. So this way you have different exposure, but it will not affect the style of the picture, the noise in the picture, and it will not affect the depth of field. So important tips. As you already have your camera on your tripod, just make several pictures. I thought it was going to be quiet here, but actually they're cutting woods, and they have chainsaw, so obviously it's quite noisy, but well, I think it's okay for my tip. More than a tip, an advice, number 3. This is not the kind of picture I like to make, because I think it's like something really intimate, although it's on the street. People making pictures to beggars, and then they publish them on Facebook or Instagram, and they do it in a way that they want to tell the world that there are some people with problems or needs, and they want to show that to the world, so they publish a picture. But actually I see that many, they make the picture and they run away, and that's it, and they publish a picture and that's it. So they're not actually reporting anything to the world, they're just actually don't do much. They make a picture for themselves and that's it. So I think that the minimum is that if you make a picture like this, you should walk towards the beggar, speak to that person. It's not just a bench or a tree or something on the street. This is a person. So you should speak to that person. Tell him that you just made a picture. Show him the picture or show her the picture. Ask if he's okay with the picture, if it's a problem for you to use the picture. Because that person will feel that you care about him, that he's not just an object, he's a person on the street. So this is the first minimum thing to do. And second, ask that person, what does he need? Do you need food? Do you want some money? Obviously, he will probably not ask you for $1 million, or he will not ask you for a house or a car, but probably will say, oh yeah, I'm hungry. Give him some money or buy him some food. But this person has just given you a theme for your picture for free. Because if you give something, this is not paying for work, it's free. Okay, so I think the minimum is to help that person in some kind of way, and also to show him that you actually care about him, about this person. Ask how he is, how he feels. Okay, I think this is really important, and this is the minimum we must do. My fourth tip. Very often we look at pictures we made like 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago with a camera that was different from the one we have right now. I mean, maybe the camera we had just before, or 2 or 3 cameras before what we have now. And we often say, oh, the image quality I have with my camera, my present camera, is a lot better. I thought that also. And then a friend of mine who he's crazy about raw development software and studies everything, said, Eric, you know what? I opened my file I made with my Canon 1DS, that is about like, I don't know, 15 years old already. And I developed it with the latest Capture One and also with the latest Lightroom. And man, the quality is amazing. And then actually what you realize is that we think that the image quality was due to our cameras. But actually when we worked in RAW file, it was capturing a lot of details, a lot of things, a lot of data, but our raw development software was not good enough to actually get good results. And now, when you take your picture that maybe 6, 7 years old or whatever, if you develop them again in the latest raw development software, you will have an amazing good surprise. So take your favorite pictures and edit them again, develop them again, and you'll get better results. And this is amazing. Tip number 5. Very often, or most of the time, when we go and make pictures, we have our smartphone with us. So I'm not going to tell you to make picture with your smartphone, I promise, I won't tell that. But I'm going to tell you that you could actually use your smartphone for many things. There are some apps, third-party apps, that actually help you with photography. There are some light meters, maybe they're not that precise, but they do help. So you can use a light meter app. There are also some apps that let you calculate the depth of field. So it's really useful because you will be able to know where blur starts and when it finishes. So you can calculate exactly the depth of field. So it can help you to see because very often on the small screen you're not sure how it is exactly, you need a larger screen. But if you've calculated before, you're sure that from 1 meter to such distance, then it will be in focus, or from 3 meters to infinity it will be in focus. So this is really useful. There are also some apps that will tell you at what time it is sunrise, sunset, where the sun will be placed, or also the moon, if it's full moon, quarter, all this, what time it will be visible, which area of the sky, all this. So there are many apps for your smartphone that will help you not better your photography, but better your situation, or help you with the situation. obviously the picture you have to make it yourself. Okay, so I hope you like this video. If you feel it may interest other people, please share it on social networks. If you have not done yet, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. There's a small button down here and also a small bell. If you click on the bell, get notified when I upload a new video. My website ericgibaud.com. If you have any question, you can leave a comment below, and also below I leave you in the description links of more gear on Amazon and also links to other parts of my YouTube channel. Thank you very much. Please take care of yourself and see you soon. Bye.